All right, man, let's get it. Welcome to our show, Agree to Disagree. We got my boy Jay Lloyd, Craigie Williams, Pops, just call him Pops, and BG, also known as Brian Guadamus. All right. So this week topic, we're gonna let Pops explain it because it's his take, and then we're just gonna build out of it from that. All right. So go ahead, Pops.
All right, thank you, appreciate it. We all know about a week ago, a few days ago, a top prospect recruit, Mikey Williams, made a tweet. He just tweeted, going here and just what he said. Going to an HBCU wouldn't be a bad idea. And when he said that, everybody thought, oh, Mikey's tripping. And I think making the statement, we all know what's going on. We got the pandemic and we got people protesting about the racism and all that kind of stuff. We know what it's about. But I think that's why kids for the next generation are really going to consider really thinking about it and going over everything and thinking about it. It just takes one kid to change it. One. If he decides, or let's say a kid before him say, hey, man, I'm going to jump on that idea. But we all know, Mikey got some offers, go to Kansas, UCLA, all the big schools, they're on him. And as soon as he makes the statement, 12 schools offering. You got 12 HBCUs immediately offering him a scholarship to come there. And the reason why I say he could really change it. And then because Zion Williams was estimated for Duke and made Duke $5 million a year. Let's say he stayed there the whole 4 years. He stays there. Imagine if that kind of product goes into a black university. That's huge. That is real huge. Then you're going to get other kids. Hey, man, I'm going to try it. One thing that Mikey said that really made a lot of sense to me, and I agree with him. He said, man, if you're a pro, you're a pro. And if he goes there and he really exceeds expectations, kids are going to really start thinking about that next generation. That really next generation is really about change now. And then it didn't hurt that Carmelo Anthony piggyback. Yeah, it wouldn't be a bad idea. Lou Williams, DeMarcus Cousins, all these NBA guys are really going to kind of push that now. And the one thing that I really think could happen, Mikey said something really key. He said it's about the narrative, holding on to the narrative of what you do. Well, think
30
about
seconds, Pops.
Who's really good at a narrative than LeBron James? So what you think he wouldn't do for Brian? And I'll rest my case on that, and you guys can chime in. I got more. Y'all better come on.
All right, so look, Pops, my question is, I'm not gonna poke holes on this one. I actually agree with you. So how much of it do you think is just because of I don't wanna shoot nobody in the foot, but how much do you think is because historically black colleges can't afford to give them that, that under the table money?
Okay, let's go hype. Let's go. No, that's a good question. Now, what's going to have to happen, that's why I say the next generation, because they're going to have to, the black universities are going to have to be ready for this. Yeah, they don't have the facilities that are Duke, UCLA, Kansas, Kentucky. They don't have the facilities. So somebody right now better be pushing and talking to alumni to really get the facilities and the locker room up to speed, because that's what it's going to take. And it's going to be, because now the brand thing is in. Jay said it last week or when we was talking, the brand is going to be real important. Some of these kids are going to put up their brand. So the black colleges are just going to have to be ready for this, because it's coming, and there's going to be a kid that's going to do it. And first of all, his mama went to Hampton, and we all know mama's got a good say-so when it's time to choice.
All right, that's your take?
Yeah.
Good job. That was solid. I ain't even gonna lie. That was solid. Boy,
Well,
was
let
good.
me jump in there.
All right, go ahead.
It's one of the things that I have to disagree, but I want to agree. So I disagree based on some facts, but I want to agree. Let me go over those real quick. The HBCUs do not have the funds to reach out to us. So, like, I saw an interview today with Andre Miller, and I don't know if you guys remember Andre Miller, 17-year NBA guy. He said that he wanted to go to an HBCU out of high school, but he applied, and none of them schools wanted him. Utah wanted him because of the assistant coach on the team went to Bourbon Day. So I even think of something like that. That's a 17-year pro that wanted to go to HBCU and wasn't able to because of their limited resources and their inability to be able to recruit guys out of their area. That's one thing. Second thing, most of the high-level kids want to go somewhere where they feel like they can be one and done. So you want to go to a Kentucky where he already has the program kind of set up to play 1 year and be done, right? At the HBCUs, it will be more of a 3 to 4 year project unless you bring somebody with you. Now, lastly, one thing that I will say, you got 3 guys that coach HBCU right now that were pros. You got Mo Williams,
Yep.
coach Alabama. You got George Lynch, that is at Clark Atlanta, and you got Lindsey Hunter, that's at Mississippi Valley State. So that makes me wonder. You got 3 guys that have played in the league. One of them guys won a championship. Why can we not get our guys, our kids, to commit to those schools? It's not that the resources aren't there in terms of the coaching, but I just feel like the inability to be able to recruit West Coast players, the budget, and then the talent level as a whole is going to make it hard for one person to go there without maybe going as a group.
I'll jump in if that's cool.
Yeah, go ahead, B.
Because I actually have the same take. It's one of those where, I mean, you have to watch what you say because I actually agree, and I would be all for, top recruits going to these historically black colleges and universities. But I disagree with the point as well as too. I mean, everything you see now with social media, Craig talked about it, I think Jay talked about it last week. Everybody wants to be seen. So, like you said, the funds aren't there. The televised games aren't going to be there. We talked about it off camera. I think Craig brought it up. They probably will get 5 or 6 games, kind of like how Bronny got his games televised on ESPNU and ESPN 3 or ESPN Plus and stuff like that. But it's never going to be at the level that these Kentuckys and these Dukes are. Pops brought up a good point about these kids are about change. They're about change, but do you really think the LeBrons, the Carmelos would send their kids there when they have Coach K's in their back pocket? They have all these different universities, right? I think one of the biggest things too, and I've put these on my notes, that the top high school players won't go there is because one, these black colleges have to deal with all these Power 5 schools, and then 2, now they have to deal with the G League. These guys are getting paid. So all that under the table money that we brought up about coaches paying these recruits, they don't have to. I mean, they're still going to do it, but these kids could go and play in the G League and play under coaches that, just like Jared said, some of these coaches played pro and are coaching at these universities. But I think too, with the Jay brought up a good point about these former pros going there. Everybody has to get started coaching somewhere. So I feel like those opportunities was there and they all jumped on it. Do you really think those 3, was it 3, Jay, that you said, coaches?
Yeah.
Coaches? Yeah. Do you really think those 3 want to stay there for 40, 30, 50 years? Or would they, if opportunity comes up, if a UCLA job opens up, if a USC job opens up, if a Kentucky job, and they get offered it, do you think they stay or do you think they go? You know what I mean? So it's one of those where I would want it to happen. I think it would be great. But, even watching the Texas Western, movie, The Glory Road, obviously Disney made a movie about it, but they made a big statement, a big change there in that national championship game. And then nothing happened after that. You know what I mean? So it's got to be one of those where it's consistently year in and year out. These top recruits want to go there, but these top recruits, like you said, are one and done. So the longevity and the product is not going to be there just as much. Just like, people say college basketball has kind of dipped down a little bit, and I'll end it here. It's dipped down a little bit because these recruits, like you said, the Kentuckys already have the format. You come here, play 1 year, you're going to get drafted, or you're going to go undrafted, but you're going to get a workout for an NBA team, So
automatically too.
I feel like they're just too far behind, you know, and it sucks, you know. But I'm all for it. I wish it could happen, but it's like I said, these athletes are talking about it. But is Bronny James going to go to a Georgia Southern? Is he going to go to one of these schools when, like you said, you know, he has that relationship with Duke and, you know, all these other Power 5 schools? So that's mine. I disagree with it, but I would totally want it to happen.
Hold on, Pops. Go ahead, Craig.
Yeah, before I say my opinion, one thing Pop said that really made me think, we're assuming that the alumni at these black colleges don't have any money. You know what I mean? And I'm thinking that you could have, if you have a player that's good, who's that good, who wants to go to one of those schools, they'll find a way to get him there if money is an issue. You know what I mean? And that's something I thought about. And then to your point, Lloyd, you know, without the resources, I think now it's a little bit easier maybe with social media. I think if a kid is good, you can at least send him a letter, at least give him one visit. You got tournaments everywhere that, you know, you can at least make an appearance to see a kid you really want. And I think what you're saying is right, that it would take, you know, kind of like an ace in the hole, a strong contact to kind of get you to that school, like you said about Andre Miller and, you know, Verbum Day. But, you know, it could be, like, to your point, Brian, and what Pops is saying, you know, you could have a coach with conviction who wants to stay at a historically black college. You know what I mean? You know, you could be convicted. Also, too, you could have this generation that Pops was talking about. You could have a kid who's convicted, who knows he's going to the league in either way, and say, you know what, I can open up the doors if I go to this particular school. I think it's a long shot, but like I said last week, it would have to be like a Michigan situation where you have to recruit at least 2 other cats to go with you to kind of at least be competitive.
Like you talked about bringing the Fab Five type of thing.
Yeah,
Like
I mean, that makes sense because it's like, you know, it'd be like LeBron and when he was in, you know, going from high school to college and, you know, a bunch of, you know, 1AA kids, you know what I mean? So I think that would make sense, but could it happen? Yeah. Would I love to see it happen? Yes. I think it's a long shot, but who knows what's going to happen after the current political and social situation that we're going through now.
I'm gonna go real quick, Pops, real quick, and I'm gonna let you give your little rebuttal. All right. So I kind of agree with Pops, man. There's a lot of things going on right now, and I think change is kind of on the rise. Now, is it likely? I don't think so, but I hope so. Kind of like what Jay said too.
I agree.
But me and Jay talk about this all the time. There's no knock, but we're in a generation of what's trending, trendsetters, right? AKA followers. So all it takes is that one, maybe two, like that right player, right character, right skill, and I think you can make that happen, man. If you think about it, if Zion would have went to, we'll say Howard. We all know Howard, right? If he would have went to Howard University, is he not getting in the NBA? Does he get in the NBA?
I think he gets in the NBA. I don't know if he's number 1 pick. And I think now you're dealing with the question of marketing.
Mm-hmm.
You're dealing with when Zion Williams tore his shoe off, right? Yeah. That was at Duke.
Yeah.
That was a story because it was at Duke. Mm-hmm. Is that going to be the same story at Arkansas Pine Bluff? Is that game even televised? Or are we going to hear about it through Yahoo Sports when it's a different media platform? ESPN is going to push the Duke, the North Carolinas. They're going to push those angles. So anything that it's going to be almost overhyped. Yeah. Rather, at our HBCUs, they're not pushing it the same. Again, if we go in there with 2 or 3 guys and they can make some noise and they can play the right team in the preseason, I think we can do it. But that schedule has to already be set up a year or 2 in advance where they're playing those big games.
But then, too, I think, too, if he does break his shoe, real quick, Pop, sorry. If he does break his shoe at a historically black college, then it becomes, see, this is why he should have gone to a top university. This is why he should have gone to a school that has the facilities. This is why he should have gone to a school that the technology of these shoes would have been better. You know, it's always going to be – everybody would have heard of it just because of who he is his name, but I feel like it would have been – yeah, you know, it would have been pushed that way, but I feel like it would have really been, this is why he should have gone to a Duke. This wouldn't have happened. He would have had proper shoes. You know, I think somebody would have wrote that to spark a, you know, to throw gas on the fire, basically. I feel like.
I just think it's one of them things, man. Like, not to hop off topic, but it's kind of on topic. Like, no one probably thought African Americans would be able to vote. I know it's not that deep, but like when you think about the drastic steps that for race and black versus white, we're not trying to make it about that, but it kind of is. You know what I mean? Like it is possible, and I just think it's going to take that certain type of character and person that really sees like what that would do. You know what I mean? And
We've seen it though. That's
with
the
who?
thing. Like with the Texas Western team, like it was. I mean, it was just one game where he started all 5 black, players, but it was him bringing all these African Americans to the was it the South, right, where they really didn't allow them.
Oh
Not
yeah,
allow
yeah.
them, but it was looked down upon, and he stayed there. Like to Craig's point, it's going to take somebody that wants to have the conviction and want to be good for people and stay there. He stayed there for over 30 years, but it was that, and then it kind of. I mean, obviously I wasn't born at the time, so I really can't really say for sure. But you never really hear anything else besides Texas Western, besides that one game and that one season,
Yeah.
So.
Go ahead, Pops, and give your rebuttal. Just saying, I actually agree with it, bro. I agree with you.
No, everybody had great points, and I get everybody's point. But here's the whole key to this. Here's the real nugget to this whole thing. It's about this generation, what we're going through, what they're seeing. So now it's about change. Mikey makes a great statement, but if I do it, I change history. If I go on to be successful, now it may not happen that next year, but whoever Mike played with doing travel ball, hey man, I'ma try it. And then it just starts going and going and going. Brian brings up a good point. I'm glad he brought it up. Here again, we're talking about change. He brings up Texas Western. Something good came out of it because, the coach recruited all black players with the flair and all that, made them play their style and everything. But he beat who? Kentucky. Who did he beat? Adolph Russ, who never recruited a black man. After he lost, what did he do? I got to be a black player. Because you can't, and I'll go a little deeper than that, because it can't happen.
2 minutes, Pops.
Okay, it's still a sport. I'll go deeper in that. Grambling State, Eddie Robinson had a huge football program. Huge. The dudes were just great. None of the D1 schools would ever want to play them. Why? They knew they had a chance to lose. They knew we can't beat all them brothers out there, man. It's not going to happen. So USC and all them, he wanted to play John McKay. No, we can't do that. We can't do that. So it's just going to take one player, man. It may be even a girl. And then I'll close with this. And y'all know who Irv is. Talking to Irv. He has some big decisions to make. Big decisions. And when me and him were riding, we were going somewhere to get something to eat, and he just kind of just started talking. He said, I got a big decision. He said, I can either be a piece of a puzzle or I can go and make change. I really don't want to be about being a piece of a puzzle. I want to be the guy and make a change. That was huge to me. That was huge. And I applauded him on that, but it's just going to take one, man. It's just one, whether it be a girl or a lady, it takes one. A leap of faith. And what's going to happen,
30 seconds.
the black athletes and the alumni, they're going to funnel together because they know, hey man, we got to improve these schools. And what's going to happen, we don't know 3 years down the line, just by chance, because we know how the media works. Mikey is at an HBCU school. Hey, let's throw him on ESPN because they love that kind of stuff.
All right.
Real quick.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, Craig.
Yeah,
30 seconds, OG.
Quick points. Hey, 3 quick points. I was thinking about Eddie Robinson before you brought him up, and that's the conviction we were talking about. That dude, he got offers from the league and all other college programs, but he decided to stick with the black college. Ended up being a winningest coach in college football history. But also, too, to your point, Jay, it's something I said last week, but I think if you brought that type of powerhouse to a historically black college, they'll find the airtime for you in the TV time. You know what I mean?
That's true.
I mean, and then Pops, to your point, I'm gonna close with this. You're right, though. I didn't think about this. If you went to a Final Four with that team, there's nothing nothing does better for recruiting than winning.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like what Shaka Smart did. You know what I mean? It's the same type of situation.
Yeah.
I think it would open the floodgates, but just getting there is the challenge. But once you get to that point, I think it would definitely open up the floodgates for it to be a trend.
Yeah, it has to get over that hump. I feel you on that. If it gets there, it could blow up.
Sure.
All right. Jay, did you want to add something? Or are you good?
No, I'm good. I mean, I do want to talk to y'all about this these two draft classes though, because I know I have a lot of haters, man. So since John wants me to take that, let's talk about these two classes, man. So let's talk about this 1984 NBA class.
Okay.
And let's talk about this 96 NBA class. And I'm gonna tell y'all right now, I'm gonna start off. The 84 class was a little bit better. All right. Now, as we know, the top four in the 84 class, we have Michael Jordan, Hakeem Olajuwon, Charles Barkley, my man Johnny John Stockton. The 96 draft, we go AI, Cole, Ray Allen, Steve Nash. I'm going by in terms of accomplishments.
Okay, career. Okay.
Right. So now, let me break down these stats for y'all, though. So, in 84, we had 7 different All-Stars. 96, y'all had 11. They had 11 in 96. 84 had 4 top 10, 20 players of all time. Both classes had 12 fouls appearances. Championships, 84 has 8. Jordan had 6. Hakeem had 2. 96 had 7. Kobe had 5. Ray Allen had 2. We could put Ben Wallace in there, but he wasn't drafted, so you can't count Ben Wallace.
We're not gonna count Derek Fisher. We're not gonna count Derek Fisher. 5 rings. We ain't gonna count that.
All right. So if you want to dare add a role player to this discussion,
all right, my fault. I'll do it in my take.
The 84 after the first 4 picks were all role players for the most part.
Right, but those 84 were the top 20. You look at the 96 draft, I think 96 had more depth. They had more depth for sure. Top to bottom, more depth. But 84, you look at impact, 84 had more impact. Iverson didn't win 1. Who else? Ray Allen won 2, but he wasn't the best player on the team either of them championships. Steve Nash didn't win any. You only got Kobe, right? We got Jordan and Hakeem on this side that won some championships. All right, won some championships and had an impact. I see what people say. It's debatable, man. But if you look at the 84 draft, those top 4, man, we got to give them a slight edge, man. That's it. We got to give them a slight edge.
So are we going there? So is that your point, saying that they're better because you have 4 of the top 20 players all time?
Yeah, I mean, again, if we're looking at a whole team, maybe 96 had a couple more players. They had Jermaine O'Neal. They had Peja Stojakovic. They had Shareef Abdul-Rahim. They had Stephon Marbury. But those were
Antoine Walker.
Antoine Walker. They had Antoine. They had some good players, bro. But we talking about we gotta go 84. Because aside from Bean and AI, I'm gonna give y'all Bean for sure. Bean's in there. Steve Nash, y'all don't even like John don't like Steve Nash at all. He feel like Steve Nash is MVP from Kobe. And Ray Allen, when he won, he wasn't the best player on the team. Come on, Craig. Talk to me, Craig. Come on, Craig.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you what. Let me tell you what really transpired. When I looked at '84, right? I'm like, okay, this draft happened when I was 6 years old. I start going down the line, right? And when
You
I
only
start going
know
down the
4
line,
players.
no, listen, no, but I saw a lot of these players, in their
Yeah.
career, over their 10-year career, whatever. When I start going down the line, and I'll start at the bottom, like Jerome Kersey, you know, Tony Campbell. I remember him for being on the Lakers.
That's role play.
Michael Cage, Jay Humphries, he didn't go high. Kevin Willis, Otis Thorpe. I mean, these dudes had some good NBA careers. But I'm going to tell you what I thought about. When I looked at this, I said, man, there's no way this 96 class is better than this.
No.
Then I clicked over, right? Then I went to 96. And for me, I was a college basketball guru. So all the dudes on this list was dudes that I saw play before they were pros, which makes me more biased to this list because this was when college, it was more, relevant to me because this was when cats stayed at least to their junior year, blah, blah, blah. And I looked at this list, dude, and I'm like, I've seen all these dudes play in college. Reggie Gary, Shannon Anderson, Mark Pope, Malik Rose. These dudes had some good, Brian Evans. This is a deep. Walter McCarty and Antoine Walker. You can argue that he could be a Hall of Famer based on his skill set at that time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Come on, Lloyd. I'm just serious.
Yeah.
Marcus Camby, Sharif Abdul-Rahim
Was the truth. Marcus Camby was the, yeah.
But
Raheem too.
Raheem, yeah.
Yeah, Lorenzo Wright, Kerry Kittles. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna Samaki Walker.
Kerry Kittles.
Samaki Walker, Eric Dampier. But this was a deep, this is a deep class. And also too, you got cats that came out of college like Jermaine O'Neal. Of course, you got Kobe. This is tough, man. But I got to go on depth. I know you got Mike and Elijah Wan, Barkley. You can't argue against them. But when it comes to depth, and just overall the amount of players that had solid careers,
more players, man.
Impact. We gotta go with impact though. 84. Impact.
But also too, but you know this too, Lloyd. Even though I'm not a huge Steve Nash fan, but you gotta look at Steve Nash and Peja. Them dudes still, the Lakers had to get through them dudes every year. That was Tony Dell, John Wallace, Walter McCarty. I think I'm a little bit more biased because I saw them dudes in college, but I saw a lot of these dudes. You didn't have a lot of dudes on this list that were bums in college that were good in college that became bums in the NBA.
We don't like Sam Perkins. Sam Perkins.
Sam Perkins was good.
Hey, he was 11-5.
We don't like Alvin Robertson. Alvin Robinson was a six-time All-Defensive Player.
Yeah, led the league in steals. Yeah,
and have the record to this day with the most steals per game for a season.
Yeah.
What we for sure. Go ahead, John. I apologize. Go ahead.
I'll close real quick. But yeah, I'm just saying it was hard for me to long story short. When I saw 84, I said there's no way 96 could top this. But when it comes from the amount of players and the solid career that I saw, I got to go with 96.
All right, I'll take that. Let's go.
Pops,
BG.
you want to go or you want me to go, Pops?
You can go ahead and go.
Okay. To Jared's, I disagree, but it's a real close. So I think the 96 class was better, but I will give it to Jared about that. I was doing all my research. I didn't know they had 4 of the top 20. For some reason, I didn't see that. So I'll give you that one. But
those names?
Huh?
I said you didn't see those names?
No, I saw the names, but I didn't. It didn't register in my head. They were top 20, officially, you could say, I guess.
Wait, John Stockton's top 20?
Yes, he's 20.
Are we?
He's
20?
He's at 20 though. Jay,
this is official, though, right? It's an official ranking. He's in the top. This is not based off our opinion, right, Jay?
It's all.
No. See, okay.
Wait. Hold on, B. Hold on.
Talking about the top 50.
Hey, Jay, you think Stockton's top 20 all time?
I think he's 20.
No, you're just saying that.
I'm serious. I think he's 20. Look. He's the second or third best point guard of all time. He's got to be 20.
Yeah.
Second?
Or third.
Yeah.
He has the assist record by 2000.
Yeah, it's so hard to be able to reach him. And the thing is, I hated John Stockton because the Lakers had always get through him. But it's hard to argue how good he is. And the thing is, And as a point guard, he can knock down that mid-range shot like every time. I don't remember him missing. And you're a little bit too young to see that, but he can
Here
shoot,
we
man.
go.
Yeah, he can
Here
go.
we go.
What you mean?
You're a little too young. Y'all always bringing age into it, man.
Hey, well, it's true, man. You know, there's certain games
Man.
that
I watch
haven't
hoop,
seen.
bro. I watch my hoop, man. I'm just messing with you.
But yeah, so yeah, I'll disagree. And it's to Craig's point too. Doing the research, I'll just give it to him because of the longevity. Obviously, I feel like you could put with Hakeem and Jordan. You know, obviously what they did was great, but I feel like you could put. Obviously, AI didn't win, so let's not over panic. But if you put him and Kobe together too, it's kind of, I feel like, would balance it out, so to speak. But I'll give it to him too because of the stats I saw. Like I said, Sharif was 18-7. Marbury, before he went crazy, was 19, 3-7. Ray Allen was 19. You know, Kobe's Kobe, obviously, and what Nash did was great. And everybody else that we named, you know, that did stuff like Marcus Camby. I didn't even put on my list, but you know, the stuff he was doing in college came and transitioned it. What they did throughout the league, the longevity of the draft itself, but also their careers in the league. Yes. I feel like, you know, transitioned really well. But I'm just throwing this out there because Marbury, I think he gets a bad rap. Obviously, you know, he went south, but what he did in China is just crazy to me. I don't know if you guys seen his new documentary that he put out, but to me, you know, being, you know, my parents being from another country for the sport, how it's been known, it's like, you know, to me, I give credit to somebody that can go to another country. Yeah, you're not playing the top guys in the league, but you still build a brand out there, and you made China, I feel like, what it is now. So that's to me why I'll give it to the 96 draft. Obviously, I'm biased because I was, you know, born 3 years before then. I got to see all of them play and got to see, you know, most of them. But yeah, that's my main reason is the longevity of the draft, how many players it had, as well as how you know, obviously not all of them won the championships, but what they were able to do throughout their careers was longevity as well. So.
And also, Jay, my boy Antoine Walker was 18-7 for like the career. You can check that.
Sam Perkins was right behind that. I'm gonna tell you right.
No, he wasn't.
He was 11 points a game.
He was 11 points per game, Jay.
Sam was like 14, maybe.
No, it was 11. And I knew someone was gonna say that.
It's on my notes.
Hey, y'all ain't said nothing about Alvin Robertson, though. I'm telling y'all right now, don't bring up nothing about Alvin Robertson. Alvin Robertson was a problem. Go ahead, Pop. I apologize. Go ahead, John. Go ahead.
All right, you good, Jay? You good? Go ahead, Pops.
Okay.
3 minutes, G.
I'm gonna have to bring this full circle for everybody because y'all don't get it. So here you go. Understand. All right. The 84 squad. That was a good draft. Great draft. Great draft. Great. Now, so what I did going through the notes, because we're basing this on really, we're talking about careers. Mm-hmm. And I will say this, that because Jay brought up, and I know, you know, some of you guys are just too young, but before he had knee problems, Kerry Kittles was a problem. Now, hold on. Sam Perkins. Now, but here it goes. This is why I'm going to go. This is why I'm going to do a redraft. And I'm just going to do the 84. Okay, here on my notes. Of course, we got Kerry number 1. We got the Dream number 2. We got Barkley number 3. If it was a redraft on their career, we got Stockton number 4 and K. Willis at number 5. Okay, hold on. I'm going to do the redraft of this 96 squad. We all know number 1 pick would have been Cole. Number 2, here Cole, franchise leader. Number 2, Steve Nash.
Oh, this
Let me tell you why. Hold on. Let me tell you why.
Are you kidding me, bro?
No. Wait a minute. Let me tell you
this dude,
franchise
man.
Changed the franchise. He changed the franchise at number. He's number 2 pick. If there was a redraft, Steve Nash would be the number 2 pick. Period.
What franchise?
Number 3 would be AI, another franchise person. Franchise.
The whole league.
Hold on. Ray Allen, Jesus Shuttlesworth, Franchise at Milwaukee. He was a franchise. Number 5, Ben Wallace. Jay talking about he wasn't drafted. The Pistons won the championship, him anchoring that defense. So no, stop. I don't want to hear this. Marcus Camby, number 6. Jermaine O'Neal at Indiana, number 7. Peja Stojakovic was one of the best three-point shooters in the league in Sacramento. And Stephon Marbury carried Minnesota. Well, he went off. He carried Minnesota. Then we got Sharif. He was a problem. He was impact. And then you still put that draft. You got Derek Fishers and all that. That 96 draft, man, I mean, Craig brought up Jerome Kersey, and he's right. But that 96 draft, man, they got some killers on there.
You can't put my bad, Craig. You can't put Steve Nash before Allen Iverson.
Yes, you can. On a redraft, yes, you can. If you were redraft, yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Why? So did Steve Nash get the Phoenix Suns to the finals at all?
Well, if it wasn't for the Robert Horry push, yeah,
if it wasn't for the Robert Horry push.
Yeah, the greatest foul ever.
Oh, that's crazy, bro.
That's the truth.
And Steve Nash had better players around him, clearly.
But still, that's what I'm saying. If there was a redraft, you know he had better players around him. That's why he's going number 2. AI. Oh, and I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. The 84, I give it. They have more solid players in that draft. Solid.
Hey, you got 30 seconds, bro.
That 96 team, come on, man. If you had to redo that team, if you had to redo that draft, it would go in that order based on the careers that those guys had. Careers. Let's go career, not just the player who we like. Career. Steve Nash was a problem. 2 MVPs. Stop this.
Yeah, they didn't like AI, Pops. They didn't like AI.
They didn't like Kobe neither, but still. Kobe
that's why he has 1.
Exactly. So let's stop this. Stop.
All right, man. It's great. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and go before this goes somewhere that we ain't
Marbury's career
right now. Man, are you? All right.
Look up Steve. Weird.
If it's based on career, and I can't even say impact. If it's based on careers, like I would agree with Jay, but I think the 96 class actually had more impact, Jay. You had I think it was about 6 or 7 of the cats played at least 15, 16 years in the league.
Sure.
When I was looking at the 84 draft, I know y'all gonna say it anyway. I didn't know who none of them was, man. I didn't know who none of them was. So I'm going through checking the stats. Yeah, man. And most of those dudes, like their average, like most of them, average was like they played like 3 to 4 years. In the 96 draft, I think the average was like 10. Don't quote me, because I didn't write the names down and do the whole medium and me. I ain't do all that. But I'm looking at the 96 draft, and guys played longer than they did in the 84 draft. So I'm saying that to say, they had 4 of the top 20 or top 24 out of the top 22 players in NBA history. But I think the 96 draft had just more ball players in that draft. So this is a perfect example of me agreeing to disagree with you, because I agree, but I don't. So did you want to say something, Craig? I had cut somebody off.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, and Jay, you remember this? I'm looking at cats who hit it on the head when he said, "There's cats that might not be all stars, but they're impactful." Like I'm looking at Shandon Anderson. He played some good minutes. Malik Rose, for San Antonio. Even Jerome Williams. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he wasn't an all-star, but he had a decent NBA career. We had a lot of cats. I mean, same with D. Fish. I mean, we forget about Walter McCarty. That dude played for 20 years. Tony Dell. This was a good draft.
Tony Dell.
This is a good draft. And the thing is, this made me want to go look at other years to see how other years could stack up against this draft class, because this was a good draft class.
Go
Also,
ahead,
too.
and then Jay, you're gonna give your rebuttal. Go ahead, B.
Yeah. I don't know if Jay correct me or Pops correct me if I'm wrong, but when I was reading it, didn't they have more rounds too in the '84 draft?
They
They
did.
have more opportunity to have more players too. So to me, that's
Yeah.
I mean, Craig about it. Like it's like the longevity of it. Like I think it was only 2 rounds for the '96. I want to say, right? Like it is what it is now. Yeah. So it's like for that many players to get opportunities, and obviously not everybody's always going to pan out, but I think that speaks volumes too. That class had more opportunities to have more. Obviously, guys have more better careers or whatever. But but for only 2 rounds compared to I don't know how many it was. That's pretty impactful too. So.
Jay, your rebuttal.
I think all you guys are right. My thing is this. The reason why I came to the conclusion was I looked at the impact of the players being drafted. When Houston took Hakeem, they were taking Hakeem to be the franchise player. When the Bulls took Jordan, same thing. When the Sixers took Barkley, same thing. Even though Dr. J was there, he was on the tail end of his career. When you look at the 96 draft, the only person I would maybe say AI and Kobe. I think Kobe was that guy, but it was more coaching issues. But Ray Allen was going to come in and just be a good shooter. They already had big dog Glenn Robinson, and Steve Nash didn't even start his first 2 years in the league.
Yeah,
he didn't even start. Yeah. And we looking at Jermaine O'Neal. He was on the bottom of the bench in Portland. Peja didn't start in Sacramento. Freak Abdul-Rahim played in Vancouver, which they didn't win. Antoine Walker played with Boston. They didn't make the playoffs. Paul Pierce was arguably better than him. And Steph was with KG. So I see what y'all saying. I think it just depends on what we define as what makes the draft better. Because if it's depth, y'all all right, for sure. I think depth, 96 is better. I just feel like those guys weren't drafted to me to be all those guys to be those guys. When the 84 draft, those guys were drafted to be franchise changers. So that's why I gave 84 a small advantage over 96. Small though.
I think that had to do with them going to college too, though, right? Because because you said they didn't really draft them for them to be that guy, but isn't that the purpose of drafting players, especially that high? Like you want them to be, like you said, besides AI did it, Kobe did it, but obviously the coach's situation. But I feel like it might have taken them longer because maybe they only went 1 year or they went out of high school, so to speak. So maybe that was it. Because Jordan went 2 years, right, to college, to UNC. Barkley went, I believe, 2 years, I want to say. Wasn't there a rule you had to go 2 years at least minimum?
Well, no, they both.
Was it just 1?
They both went 3. You're right, but I think back then it wasn't common to go after 1. Like all the guys back in the 80s went 3 or 4. I see what you're saying. I just feel like
they had more time to get ready for that game.
Well, AI was in Georgetown for 2, I want to say.
Yeah, he was there for 2.
Steve Nash was there for 4. And Ray Allen might have been, Ray Allen was there for at least 3. At least 3.
That's true.
Right? So I see what y'all saying. I'm just saying I feel like all the guys we talked about, Kobe was 13th. Like they didn't really pick him. Well, Jerry West knew what he was doing. But those guys weren't, I feel like, drafted. All the guys y'all talked about were like high-level all-stars. They weren't drafted to be franchise guys. When I feel like the 84 guys were drafted to be franchise players, and they all, for the most part, delivered. Stockton was the only one that overachieved. He was the only one that clearly overachieved. The other 3 were drafted to be those guys.
So how is that more impact if they were drafted to be franchise players and the other guys kind of grew into that role, but neither one of them won? You only have 2 people in the Eastern Conference. I'm not at the Eastern Conference. In the 84 draft that won. And Michael Jordan has 80% of those rings. Just like in the 96, Kobe's got 80% of the rings. So is it more of a class or is it just specific players? Because I don't think it's the class.
That's a great question, bro. And I thought about that. I knew you were going to ask me that. What I felt was the difference when I looked at the championships was if I look at the 8 championships that 84 won, Jordan was clearly the best player on his team, and Hakeem was clearly the best player on his team. So the 8 championships that 84 won, those 2 players were clearly the best player. If you look at the 7 championships, we'll put Ben Wallace in there for 8. Ben Wallace was not the best player on his team. He was most important. He wasn't the best player. Chauncey Billups was the best player. Ray Allen was not the best player on his team for those 2. Kobe Bryant was probably the best player for 2 of those. We may give him 3, but the other 2, Shaq was the best player on that team. So I looked at the impact that those guys won in terms of those championships, and that's why I look like their 8 was a little different than the 96-7.
And I'll give you that. So that's what I was saying. Is it class or is it players?
I think
Go ahead.
84 a little top heavy though. You got Akeem and Mike. You know, Barkley's good. I'm not gonna knock where he's at, but that you know, he's sick. He was undersized for the position he played, but he was a freak of nature. And also too, I was just looking at too. You got to look at like Otis Thorpe. He got a chip too. You know what I mean? But I was gonna say something. I was gonna reiterate Jay's point to you, Brian. But on the '96 draft class, most of the kids on the list, besides the cats that went to high school, they stayed for. Majority of them stayed for 3 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I didn't think about it. Yeah.
So it's a little bit different, but I think like the '84 class had like 9 rounds. You know what I mean? So it's kind of easy to dilute the talent when you have so many cats trying to get on. But it just seemed like, Jay, to your point, those guys were getting drafted to be franchise players in '84, but it seemed like the talent wasn't that great in '84, to whereas you could draft to get that. To whereas, you know, teams in '96 are a lot more talented. The game evolved to whereas you have more talent on the team. But it seemed like you didn't really have to go after that guy. But also, too, how often do you have that guy? It's not it's very seldom do you have a guy who you're going to draft and say, oh, yeah, he's a franchise player. I think the last one we saw was Zion, but that's yet to be seen. I mean, but still, he looks good. But I think that franchise guy is a dime a dozen. You know what I mean?
All right, my bad. Jay, hold on. So Jay, you got the last response, and then I'm gonna close this out.
Okay. No, I think you make a valid point, bro. I do think in terms of teams, I think '84. We hate comparing eras, but I feel like there was more talent in the '84 era than '96 in terms of teams. The Bulls were top heavy. The Bulls were clearly the best team in the NBA. They won 72 games that season. When I feel like in the 80s, you had Philly, you had Boston, you had New York, you had LA. I feel like the talent was a little more spread out, but
I agree.
What y'all saying. I just feel like it depends, lastly, for me, on what you define as best. I only gave '84 the slight edge because of the impact of championships. But I think all y'all were right in terms of '96 and depth. '96 had more players than '84. That was the reason why I formulated the answer I got. But I don't feel like you could be wrong either way. And '03 is right behind that. '03 is right behind that class, by the way. So,
behind what class?
I think '03 is number 3. So if you pick '96 and '84, I think '03 is right there.
Okay. 30 seconds, Pops, go. 30 seconds.
30 seconds. You know what? This is what I'm going to do. Because Jay just convinced me. I'm going to change my pick.
Thank God.
No. I'm going to
No. Change your order. Change your draft order.
No. I just want to that was a redraft. But I looked at this '84 squad, and I'm telling you, okay, Akeem number 1. I know we want to gloss over. Sam Bowie was tough in college, man. Wait. So Akeem's. I'm going '84 draft period. That class is better. Listen to this: Akeem Olajuwon, Sam Bowie, Michael Jordan, Sam Perkins, Charles Barkley. Y'all don't know Melvin Turpin, but he was tough. And I'm gonna tell you why I really give you the edge. Alvin Robinson, man.
Tell him.
I looked at this Alvin Robinson, and Jay, I forgot. Lancaster Gordon, I forgot. Otis Thorpe, Craig brought that up. Leon Wood averaged 40 in college. He gave me 50 at Belmont Shore when we but hey, you know what, Jay? Y'all stop. Yeah, 84, man. 84, my bad, bro. 84. 84. 84. Jay and Craig convinced me, man. 84. I'm out.
All right, man. That was solid. I thought both takes were something that got everybody going. Everybody could kind of relate. It kind of everybody to want to say something. There were disagreements. There were some agreements, but other than that, I thought it was solid. So every Sunday night we're gonna post, right? So if you're watching it now, make sure you tune in. This is Agree to Disagree. My boy Jay Lloyd, Craig Williams, OG Pops, BG, Brian Guadamus, and I'm John. All right. Until next time, we out.
Peace.